Brothers, we are not professionals. Hey, y'all. Pastor Cam here with my buddy Mike.
What's going on?
Hey, good to have him
How
here.
country was that?
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, I think you're going to enjoy this podcast. We talk about things that Mike does, apologetics, sharing your faith. We even dabble into music. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy this conversation. It was good to have Mike up. Good to have you, man. Yeah. See you guys. Brothers, we are not professionals. Hey, this is Pastor Cam. I'm with Mike. This is a good friend from way back, and excited to be here with you, Mike. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm not comfortable being this close to you, but
we're in the shot. We're in the shot. Hey, man, good to have you here in Athens. Mike and I go way back. To high school, and so this is really cool to come back together and hear how God's working in your life and be here at my church here. We're doing an event tonight, so it's for youth, middle school and high school, so we're going to do that. But I thought I'd take this opportunity just to hang out with you a little bit, ask you some questions. So for folks that don't know you, I know you, but you're doing a lot of different things, and even as of recent, probably the past couple of years, but tell everybody what you do.
Yeah.
That's very general, but tell everybody what you do.
Well, yeah, right now I run an apologetics organization called Apologetics, Inc. Formerly it was the C.S. Lewis Society, but one of the things I pitched when they brought me on was to do a bit of a rebranding. Fun enough, the organization's always been Apologetics, Inc. It was just doing business as the C.S. Lewis Society, and really just to capture the full scope of the work that we were doing. The name the C.S. Lewis Society name was a bit too niche to describe what we do. Of course, we're an apologetics organization, have a team of speakers. We create content, podcasts, articles, videos, curriculum, youth discipleship curriculum called 7x7. And so I've been heading up that organization for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I love it. I'll put some information even like in show notes so people can click through and check it out, especially like in the Atlanta area. I think it's cool to have access to you and what you do. I think what I love about it, what you do, not only are you a pastor in many respects, and you have pastored before, but this is still you investing into the local church, especially with youth. And I've got a youth and you've got youth, but we're thinking about what's next for them, and what's going to happen when they go off to university, right? Like, is that a lot of the equipping that you do?
Yeah. First and foremost, I view our ministry as our job is to create resources for the church, to empower the church to fulfill the mission of making disciples. A lot of times in parachurch ministry, and even to some degree in the apologetics community, it tends to have this come follow me
That's right, yeah.
feeling. And no, we exist to help the church make disciples. We want to create resources that make a Sunday school leader be the hero, not simply like and subscribe, which
Sure.
of course podcasts are cool and they have their place. But as I see our role, it's even with the podcast that we create or the youth discipleship curriculum or the speaking opportunity, our role is to serve the church, helping them fulfill their mission to make disciples. And with a particular emphasis on the younger generations. Part of my story, it's been the Lord has always put me in environments where I'm working with the younger generations. And so partly just the Lord's, I think, his desire for me and then for our organization. A lot of our speakers, most of our events and experience has been with the younger generation. So we definitely have a heart to help the next generation find good answers to their questions and then give their life to Jesus, because it is good for you when you give your life to Jesus, but it's also good for other people. So long and the short of our ministry is we're committed to helping people understand that Christianity is true and satisfying.
Yeah, and even like tonight, this is a local church event, and you're coming alongside us so that we can engage our own youth, but even partner with other churches locally to help them think through some difficult questions. Not to mention we're in Athens, Georgia, to equip and engage college students. This is something I thought to maybe ask you, and we chatted like offline about this, but like the interest in apologetics kind of all around. the Joe Rogan podcast with was it what?
Wes Huff.
Yeah, Wes Huff. I mean, why do you think that seems to be growing?
Yeah.
Or, not only among young people, but maybe questions that people have questions and they're like searching the internet maybe for them. Is that maybe kind of where folks are at, or?
We're in a changing time right now. The Enlightenment Project, if you will, has run out of gas. The new atheist of the 90s and the early 2000s, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, they were
dead.
They were advancing that Enlightenment Project goal of making religion kind of unthinkable. That their hope was to create a society where you would be embarrassed to be known as a spiritual person. They have failed, and I think the Enlightenment Project, if you will, it's run out of gas, and people are not afraid to now ask spiritual questions open in the public. And I think part of it is, to some degree, this secularist worldview has had its chance. Like people started to obey its voice and follow its teachings, and it did not lead people where they hoped it would. Yeah. And they've kind of bumped into the edges of these worldviews and go, no, it's too small. There's something more out there. Right, I think that's what you're seeing with Joe Rogan. If you've even watched his progression, even maybe 10 years ago, he would have been more in that militant atheist Christians are stupid camp. But now he has a 3-hour podcast with New Testament scholar Wes Huff, where Rogan's like on the edge of his seat going, whoa, really? Wow, cool, huh? Yeah. And so there's just a generation of people that maybe 10 years ago would have been like, whatever I'm looking for, Christianity doesn't have the answer. It's not from beyond this world. It's in this materialistic world. But that's not the case anymore. Right now, we're living in a time in history where people are like, I know there's something more, and I think it's spiritual in nature. And so they're asking all these kinds of questions. Rogan and his podcast is an example. Jordan Peterson and what he's doing is another example. And if you've been a fan or a follower of even Russell Brand, listening to a podcast writing up here today where he's talking with Peterson, and I've been like, is Russell Brand's conversion, is it for real? Is it just the next thing he's trying out? And we'll see. But man, listening to the podcast with him and Peterson today, that was Brand. He's like, no, there's something more. And this something more, Brand would say, it's Jesus Christ. So it's a wild time that we're living in. And I think apologetics is a tool to help the church reach that generation by giving them good answers to their questions and the tools to pursue truth in a humble and authentic way.
I started to notice it too, like among music, right? And I want to talk to you about that here in a little bit. But like, hip hop artists, not Christian rap, but just, and there's this spirituality that they're more open to and talking about within their music, right? So it does seem like something is new or is happening that people are just much more open to. So I did want to mention this before we get off this topic. You wrote a book, maybe your first, Relational Apologetics. Talk to folks about that, because the name of this podcast is Brothers, We Are Not Professionals, and the idea is that we want to be just real folks in real people's lives. There's no polishing this thing up. I mean, you can put a jacket on me and some cufflinks. It doesn't make me any better of a pastor. I think there's something about just really being genuine. And
you telling me wearing the jacket doesn't make me cooler?
You look great.
Okay, all right.
Relational apologetics. What's that about? Like just in a couple words. And what was your goal in putting that together? Like, why was that your first book?
The goal was to create a resource that helped people know how to use apologetics well. When I wrote that book, it was maybe, I don't know, at the beginning stages, if you will, of the proliferation of apologetic literature and material. 15 or so years ago, I was teaching high school. I was finishing seminary, and my kids were asking a bunch of questions, and there was starting to emerge more resources to then pass on to them. But what I noticed is that you would consume apologetic content, whether it's you went to a conference or read a book, but then there was a disconnect of how do I use this content? And it was either I'm not William Lane Craig, so it's great he does that, but I don't know how to do this. Right. Or they were trying to then in the living room or in the dorm room give a lecture or a debate like William Lane Craig, and it's like, whoa, that's fine for that platform. But when
we're just bros, we're just trying to talk.
Yeah, and so you needed a way to use apologetics in a relational context. And so the book was written as a how to use this. And so it goes through a progression of, if you want to make a case for the truth of Christianity, it begins with holiness.
Yeah.
That is then turns into and leads, what follows from that is you then have authentic conversations where you listen and ask questions, and your posture is one of humility. Yeah. And then after you've done those, then you can go to what is true and provide answers to their questions. And so it's a bit of a roadmap, if you will, on how to use apologetics in your everyday life conversations and evangelism.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it so much. It's so approachable. And you even mentioned this on the car ride over, how some people's approach to apologetics or their conversations about faith or sharing Jesus with someone is a bit like rote or mechanical, and you're trying to teach people just to naturally just speak about who Jesus is, and then have good answers too.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, cool. Hey, I got a couple more questions, but let's push pause and then we'll come back. All right. All right, Mike, we're back. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, so good to have you again. I thought we'd shift gears a little bit. Tell us about your family. They're not with you right now. I wish they were, and I'm sure you did too, but sometimes you got to leave them at home.
Yeah, I've been married for over 20 years now to the lovely Terry Anna, formerly Watts. Definitely married up there. I've got 5 kids.
Yeah.
And often when I travel, I tell Terry, if I come back and there's only 4, I get it.
Yeah, we lost one at the grocery store.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
17 to 9, but no, they're great, and just blessed with a good wife and a good home, and still love my kids.
Yeah. What do you love most about being a dad? I know there are challenges. We probably share similar challenges, but what where do you get joy in being a dad?
I'm a dad, and this is going to be stupid, but I just love playing with my kids still. I mean, I research and love dad jokes.
Yeah.
So I'm always rolling them out. And I'm trying to think of what was the stupid one I just asked Conrad yesterday. But there's nothing better. Because every dad joke, it's like probably 70% of them get the... But it's probably more than 70%.
Yeah.
But when that one dad joke makes them laugh and smile, that's enough to carry you for a month.
All right, your girls or your boys?
Which ones do I like better? What kind of question is that?
Do your girls have you like wrapped around your finger type?
No.
Are you harder on the girls than the boys?
No. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be interesting to ask them. I will say my oldest daughter, Kaden, she'll say that she and Aaron, my oldest son, they got the good parents. Yeah. And Kylie, Conrad, and Allie got the bad parents. And of course, what she means by that is with Aaron and Kaden, we were consistent and had these rules.
Now
and
you're all used up.
And then it's like, anything goes.
Yeah.
Of course, she says that playfully. And so I enjoy my kids.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about being a dad is I get to enjoy my kids, and they're different. Personalities are different. Interests are different. Some of them like sports and are really good at it. Some are into music and piano and sports.
Cool.
I have an oldest son with special needs, so they're all just different, but they're fun and I enjoy them.
Yeah, I was thinking we're hitting the teenage years, and so that's changing a little bit because my girls would run up to me, "Daddy, you're home." But as they get a little older, it changes. You know what I mean? Like they're a little too cool.
Oh,
yeah. So, anyways, well, something that folks may not know about you now, I know on your podcast, and y'all can go check that out. Again, I'll put show notes. You got a guitar hanging in the back, but I know this about you because we have a music history. But tell the folks one of your other loves, I guess if that's what you want to call it, but just something you enjoy.
Yeah, I love music. I mean, I love music. Yeah. I've known some people that just don't care about music, and I say that's nice, but we can't be friends anymore. Right. Like, I don't understand you.
You don't listen to music in the car?
That's like literally. I don't get that kind of person, and I'm sorry if I'm offending you if you're that person, but we wouldn't be friends.
Right.
So you might as well get to know me. No, I love music. Always have loved music, but it was later in life after. Into college, but after high school, where I learned to play the guitar.
Yeah.
I did that because I
remember that.
Back surgery and couldn't play baseball anymore. So when we met, I didn't know how to play the guitar at all. Found my way to playing it, loved it, turned into playing in a band for 7 years. I've written music myself, and now, of course, it's just a hobby. But as a midlife crisis, I still have the dream of being the
right.
band coming back together.
Do you still pick it up though? Will you like grab the guitar
Absolutely.
just like kind of like on a?
That's why you see them on my wall. It's
Yeah.
not just for cool look. It's a guitar that's out of the case is played.
Yeah.
And so I've got guitars all around my office. I got my amp out, and mostly I'll have my pedal board out, except sometimes I
Yeah.
get lazy, and if I play at church, I leave it in the gig bag.
Yeah.
But leave it out, plugged in, connected, because in between, just the 5 minute, pick up the guitar, plug it in, and play. Oh, it's good.
A quick outlet, yeah.
It's a quick outlet.
Are you trying to write in any of it, or just like mess around and and like pull up a song on the internet and I'll play that?
I just mess around. Though lately I've had this. Do I have time to write again? So I composed an album of just like electronic music and whatnot.
I listened to some of that, yeah.
And it's fun. It's addictive. You get into the flow and the zone, and it's
especially with producing it with the computer programs, you're able to like kind of chop it and do some stuff to it.
It's fun. Yeah. It is like, it's almost like, this is a silly analogy, but I loved Legos growing up.
Yeah.
And with Legos,
you're building,
writing music, there's still that same kind of, nature to it. So I don't know. I'd love to just create some more music again, but I don't know if I got the time.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I mean, for our listeners, we played together. We met in youth groups. Speaking of youth, at the beginning of the podcast, I led the worship. Mike didn't, but Mike was very involved and was our kind of the speaker guy. Later on in college, you learn. And I remember maybe like, I don't know, maybe we hadn't spoken in 6 months, maybe a year, I don't even know, to reconnect with you, and like you are on the guitar, like literally shredding. And I was like, what in the world? Like lead guitar. This is not just strumming praise music. Lead guitar really well. So that was a lot of fun. I thought to put on the podcast. I don't know. This could be long. You could ask me about this later. But the time.
Who's going to ask you?
I don't know. I don't know who even watches this. But at the time that Dylan had stepped down as frontman, and y'all were like, "Hey Cam, why don't you be the guy?" Mm-hmm. And so the story is not about music. The story is about driving down in a snowstorm in Atlanta and literally almost being killed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can tell that story later. Anyways, I thought that was fun. Like
crazy, man.
If that would have worked out. Anyways, I love that too. I love music, and then obviously its connection to the church. Mm. We are a singing people. What do Christians do when they gather? Well, they open the Word of God. They hear it preached, but they sing. Mm-hmm. And I think music's so effective at communicating the gospel, the truths of God, but also it's very like heartwarming and settling, and like, what do you need during a hard day? I just pull up my guitar sometimes and play it.
Yeah, music's powerful. I mean, my kids will be meditating on the truths from the songs they sing.
Yep.
In ways that the Sunday morning sermon,
it doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit.
Yeah, and I like to point that out on Sunday afternoon. What are you singing? You're singing that third song from Sunday morning. You're not repeating the points from that sermon.
That's why I mean song choice.
Yeah.
So important on Sunday morning. So, music in our gatherings is important because of the effect that it has on us. But the nature of music itself is in some way captures the nature of reality better than anything else. Because within music, there's order. Yeah. There's like precision and order and mathematical order in music, such that computer programming can be written off some of Bach's compositions. It's crazy. So there's order in music. But then the other end of the spectrum is there's like endless creativity. And in this harmony, there's this beautiful dance between order and freedom. And I think that's the fundamental nature of reality, that it's not just do anything you want, random chaos.
That sounds like crap. Yeah.
It's order, but within this there's order and creativity, and it's just beautiful in the harmony there. And so there's something about the nature of music, beyond even the effect of music, that communicates to us the nature of ultimate reality.
There's a word that I think may fit here is transcendence. That's what's happening, and even like for someone who does not believe, there is no faith. music can even connect to that person and draw them in such a way of, hey, there's something real about what you're singing, you know. The old adage of like, even for the preacher, like, man, when you preach, I can tell you believe what you're saying, you know. I think when people sing, you can tell,
that's
like,
a good
the truth
point.
of it, that they believe what they're singing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the power of like, okay, what should we be doing as Christian people? Well, we should be reading the Word together. We should hear the Word preached together. We should be singing the Word. Like it's not like just music at random, because there's plenty of that. But this is music intentionally, you know, directed towards the Lord, you know. So cool. Well, man, it's been so good to just like hang out and talk a little bit. We're going to spend some time, but I appreciate Mike hopping on here. I'm going to put some information in the show notes so that people can connect with you. And then, you know, whoever is watching this, they can find out a little bit more about what you do. And
I was not implying nobody watched this. I thought you were referencing like a literal person that you were going to talk to.
No, I'm insecure. Like, there's only 13 views on the first podcast. You know what I mean? It's okay. Well, hey, it is all about that. Like, brothers, we are not professionals, so we're not trying to be professional here. So anyways, hey, appreciate your time, man.
Yeah,
dude. Good to have you. Yeah. See y'all later. Thanks so much for tuning in, and catch the next podcast.